Paul has worked with accountants for over 14 years, and he's the MD of his own consulting practice called Remarkable Practice. Paul's session is designed to challenge your thinking about KPIs and help you make more money effectively. So please join me in welcoming Paul Shrimpling to the stage.
Thank you very much. Morning all. As you know, my name is Paul Shrimpling. 8 years ago, I set up Remarkable Practice and started on a journey to help accountancy firms like your accountancy firm to do remarkable things. Because when you do remarkable things, you get remarkable results. So this session, now is the time to make much more money from KPIs, requires you to do, well, you tell me, the same stuff or different stuff? Aren't these pregnant pauses interesting? Don't you think both? Well, maybe. I've got a goal for this session, 60 minutes to achieve something. You've got 60 minutes with me to achieve something. It could be more money, but let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you want your firm's fees to go up, your profits to go up, and the capital value to go up. Cool. So we're in the right place at the right time with the right people, which is great. My goal is this. I reckon if you were to charge out your hourly rate, let's call it £300 an hour, and you've been here for 2 days, and if you've only come for 1 day, let's treat it the same. 20 hours over the 2 days of chargeable time, if you believe in chargeable time. £300 an hour times 20 is what? £6,000. Have I got that right? £6,000. So if you were to get a 3 times return from this 1 hour, it would be worthwhile, it would be remarkable, would it not? Say yes, Paul. Cool. So my goal is to deliver stuff that enables you to do stuff that enables you to earn £18,000 worth of more profit, add £18,000 capital value to your firm. I think that's a reasonable stretch goal. Is that okay if I set out on that journey, yes or no? Cool. Okay. 8 years of helping firms of accountants do stuff has pointed to one thing that profoundly influences whether you are successful at achieving what you want in your firm. The one thing is habits. If you have the right habits, you get the right results. If you've got the wrong habits, you get what? The wrong results. Now, the team sort of, let's get Paul on because he's a bit of a motivational speaker. Energetic, yes. Motivational, no. I have a greater preference for being an irritational speaker as opposed to a motivational speaker, because I work on the basis if I can irritate the crap out of you, you'll actually take some action. And it's, well, what sort of action have you got to take as a consequence of these 2 days? The answer is habitual action. So everything that we're going to cover is aimed at getting you to a place where you change, or rather install, new habits that deliver you the new results that you want. Now, there's 2 ways of tackling this, in a half-hearted way or a wholehearted way. Which one do you think works the best? Wholehearted. Said in a wholehearted way, that was. Do me a favour. I can't do this alone. I can be wholehearted. You'll get me wholehearted. But that's irrelevant, isn't it? It's if you're wholehearted, you'll get the results. Agreed? Okay, stand up and let's try wholehearted, shall we? Go on, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Now, you've either had a long journey or a long night. Either way, the oxygen levels in your brain are low, so what we're going to do is you're going to tell me whether you're going to be wholehearted or half-hearted. Which is it going to be, wholehearted or half-hearted? Wholehearted. Oh, that sounds better, doesn't it? Stay standing up. Now, there's a roof here. What's going on here is me putting oxygen in your system, or rather, I'm not. You're putting oxygen in your system. Take a deep breath. Take another one. And when you get, I'm going to count to 3 in a minute. We're going to take a deep breath and say either wholehearted or half-hearted. It's up to you, at the top of your voice so we can push the roof off. So take a deep breath after 3. 1, 2, 3, deep breath. Wholehearted or half-hearted? Wholehearted. Fantastic, have a seat. Very good, very good. So I will be, you will be, more likely to be wholehearted. My argument is that unless and until you get obsessed with something, very little will change. Let me explain. John Waters. Anyone know who John Waters is? Producer, director, writer of Hairspray, the movie, which is the most popular movie in my house with my 17-year-old daughter and has been since she was 14. It's a bit of a nutter, which I've not got a picture of him up there, but he argues that you need an obsession, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, because you being exposed to lots of messages over these 2 days or just the day today, and it's only if you get to a place where you obsess about one of them do you stand a chance of actually making something happen habitually within your firm. Make sense? Say yes, Paul. Yes. Good, good. So what I'm going to share, what you're going to learn, and if I get my way, is do something with, is this thing called KPIs, which stands for what? So I've been led to believe. I'll challenge you on that in a little while. So we'll come to these people in a minute. Who the hell's Paul Shrimpling? So my KPIs, just so that you've got a sense that I might have something that could influence your firm's results. And so if this sounds like I'm showing off, it's because I am. But I am with a purpose, which is to go, oh, actually, maybe I should listen to Paul. Maybe I should do something with this. I work with a 3-partner firm. They're in Essex. And in an 18-month period, by changing certain habits, focusing on 3 KPIs, this 3-partner firm was turning over 1.5 million at the time. 18 months later, they were turning over 2.1 million. So net growth of £600,000 because they focused on 2 or 3 KPIs, installed the habits around those KPIs, and got a reasonable result. That's a reasonable result, isn't it? Who'd like to add 600k to their firm? This wholehearted thing still works. When you do that, you know, see, it gets have it. Another firm, 9-partner firm, turning over, it was 6 million. A year later, it was turning over 6,475,000 because they changed 2 KPIs, dealt with it habitually, and added £475,000 in cross-sales as a consequence. So, if you use the right KPIs and you habitualise it in your firm, does it work, yes or no? Yes. Cool. Just so that you're aware, there's a small 2-partner firm, started working with them 3 years ago. Their profitability, just their financial year ended December, was double what it was 3 years ago. So they went from 90k profits to 180k profits over a 3-year window. Who'd like that? It's all right, that, isn't it? That's only because they tackled the 2 or 3 or 4 KPIs, dealt with it habitually, and then they get the results. So they do remarkable stuff in a simple, elegant, habitual way, and they get a remarkable result. That's the goal. So how do I get this stuff over to you so that you can go back and do it? That's the big question, is it not? It is. So, obsession 1, possibility, KPIs. Obsession 2, possibility, conversation. I'll come back to that in a little while. And obsession 3, possibility, is Q squared. That will become apparent as we go forward. So, the right obsessions pay off, don't they? Yes, they do. If you could drive client loyalty up because of a behaviour change, would that be a good thing? Yes. Wholeheartedly, would that be a good thing? Yes. Really wholeheartedly, would that be a good thing? Yes. See, you're going to hate me at the end, aren't you? I just irritate them, Paul. If you do stuff successfully in a successful way and you generate more cross-sales, would that be a good thing for you and your firm? Answer? Yes. And if you got more referrals, would that be a good thing? Yes. And if you earned the right because of what you did to put your prices up, would that be a good thing? Yes. Okay, so what we're going to cover are things that enable you to achieve all 4. Yes? How much are you willing to pay for that? Well, I'm not sure about that, Paul. In effort, in energy, and wholeheartedness. Can you see? It's worthwhile. Now, there's another component. I'm not an accountant. I'm a business owner. I ran a business with me dad for 11 years and saw my accountant how many times a year do you think? Once. And when my business got into difficulty, what happened? What did the accountant do? He ignored me. So I've got a bit of zeal and passion for getting accountants to do stuff in a certain way so that they actually support, help, guide, coach, advise their business owners so that A, they don't go into a slump and alternatively go on the rise. And it's all about that. So, obsessions. Who's up for getting an obsession from this conference? Good. How about 3 obsessions? 1. Actually, The definition of obsession is, there's nothing else in the world. So I just argue that if you take nothing else from this presentation is, find the one thing, whether it be Onvio or any of the other pieces of software or advice or guidance that you receive over the day, and go, right, I'm going to get obsessed with that. I was interested talking to Ewan yesterday. Where's Ewan? Ewan, who installed Paperless a little while back, and it was clear from the conversation that he got obsessed with it. As a consequence, he drove his business forward, profitability, etc., etc. Is that right? So that obsessions work. Half-hearted. What sort of kids does half-hearted parent get you? You don't want that, do you? So if you're half-hearted about change, which is what this conference is about, what do you get? The same. If you continue to do what you've always done, what are you going to get? More or less? The same? Less? More? No. It's less, isn't it? The world's changing. If you continue to do the same stuff, you're going to go down, not up. You've got to change something. These are the things I would suggest you change. One is, get obsessed. This guy, Peter Drucker, who's mentioned yesterday, coined the phrase, what gets measured gets managed. So here's a key habit. I've been obsessed with habits for the last 6 years, and as I've got to know what and how to do stuff with firms of accountants, the level and the scale of the results that those accountants achieve has gone up. And the research suggests that our waking hours are dominated to the tune of either between 50%, there's many, many research studies, between 50% and 94% of your behaviour every day is profoundly influenced by habit. You're on autopilot for between 50% and 90% of the day. One of the key elements of habit is language habit. For example, finish the following sentence. Beans means? A miles a day helps you? Okay. This is slightly more complicated. Old habits what? Old habits? Okay. All the research says that's complete claptrap. Old habits never die. Old habits are like a big oak tree out there. They are never going away. Who learned to ride a bike as a kid? Who can still ride a bike? Old habits what? Never die. Installing new I don't know where that came from. Installing new habits, easy or hard? No, it's not. No. It's really hard. Really, really, really hard. There's a research study, how do you get someone to drink a glass of water habitually, automatically, without thinking, with every meal, breakfast, lunch, and I'm from Lancashire, we call it tea, without exception? And how many times would you have to have a glass of water with a meal to habitualise it, do you think? Give me a number. 12? Give me a bigger number. 15? Give me a much bigger number. 286 iterations to hardwire that habit. So installing new habits is like a little sapling tree in the shade of the oak. It needs care and attention. So when you go back to install Onvio or whatever you're doing, that's why obsession is key. Does that make sense? This is a science of the way the brain's wired. There's loads of research come out over the last 2 years about this. If you're interested in it, look up myelin, and you'll say, oh, fascinating. Right. So KPI stands for what? Yeah, they say that, don't they? But this is so 20th century, don't you think? Key performance indicators. I would argue this is looking forwards or backwards? Okay, what do accountants mostly do? Look forwards or backwards? What are your business owners doing? So we could change this, we could cross that out and replace a word and call it key predictive indicators. So if you start tracking and measuring for your firm, so ignore your clients for a little while, but for your firm, key predictive indicators, the numbers that predict the future success of your firm, what's going to happen to your firm? Nothing is the answer. Only if a KPI turns into action does anything happen. So the world of KPIs is an irrelevance unless it turns into action. What sort of action? Obsessive. Obsessive to begin with, but the obsession eventually turns into habit after 286 days. Hard. So you see, I'm on it's a lost cause really, me sharing this information, because the likelihood of you doing anything with this is what? Whoa. So you want crystal ball style KPIs, don't you? Say yes. For your firm, yes. What if you had conversations with your clients around their predictive crystal ball KPIs? Is the quality of that conversation going to go up or go down? Come on, it's bloody obvious. It's going to go up. As opposed to talk about past tense, historical data, which, by the way, they can just rip out the software anyway. What I'd like to do is share with you this report. It's 4 pages. You can read it in the time it takes to drink a cup of tea. I believe that bit.ly link works. If not, I've got another reference at the end of the presentation. And there's some other reports I want to talk about as well. There's only so much I can cover on the habit stuff. But it is obsession results in habit. No obsession, guess what? No new habits. Right, pad of paper, pen, or iPad with notes. Can you draw 3 circles, please? Venn diagram, interconnected. When you've got the 3 circles drawn, throw a T in one circle, a W in the other, and R in the other. Now, this is the work that goes on in your firm. There's 3 types of work in your firm, I would suggest. Don't get me wrong, I know there's more than 3 types, but the central mechanisms for delivering what you deliver for clients is connected with 3 types of work. I would suggest, based on my experience over the last 15 years of working one-on-one with accounting firms, in the last 8 years I've had something like 1,140 meetings one-on-one with directors, partners, owners, managers of accounting firms, and this works every time. Mostly. T stands for technical work. You do technical work, you do annual accounts, you do management accounts, you do payroll, you do cash flows, you do forecasts, you do all the technical work. How good are you at it? What was that? Fab? On a scale of 10, 1 to 10, where 10 is absolutely bob on, we are the business, give yourself a score on the quality of the technical work you do for your clients. Give yourselves a score on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is absolutely perfect every time. So you've got a score. What is it? Shout the numbers out. 7? Who's got a 9? 1 9. Who's got a 10? A few 10s, good. Who's got 8s? Who's got 7s? Who's got anything less than a 7? Let's hope not. Just park that for a second. W stands for workflow. I could put S for speed. The speed with which you get the work done. The speed with which you get the, let's be very tight and specific at this, the annual accounts work done. So set of books and records come in, and draft accounts goes out to a client. Score yourself a 10 if, on average, it's 17 days or less. Actually, don't. Score yourself a 10 if all your A-grade clients get a set of draft accounts in less than 10 weeks of the year-end date. Then you're 9 or 10. 9 or 10 weeks of the year-end date. So you've got a client's year-end date is March 31st, and you're delivering a set of annual accounts to them within or less than 10 weeks from that date. So if you're doing that consistently, if you're all your A grades, turn them around on average across the whole firm, 17 days, give yourselves a 10. I work with firms who do that. So give yourself a number, give yourself a score. Shout me some numbers out. 10? Cool. 10? Cool. Is there only 2 people doing this? Shout me some numbers out. 9. Cool. More numbers? Now everyone's embarrassed who's got lower numbers now because of you guys. That's like, spoil me a bloody presentation. Okay, let's park that for a second and go to this. Relationship work. So we do the technical stuff. We do it fast, medium or slow. And then we do the relationship work. What's the definition of a 10 on the relationship front? Well, take your A-grade clients and you're seeing them 6 times a year and you're having at least 6 proactive calls a year. Then you're probably going to give yourselves a 9 or a 10. And you'll tone that down for each client category. Give yourselves a score. Now, what I tend to find, and this audience sounds like it might be a bit different because digital software is so good, it's speeding everything up, which is cool, is the technical score is typically, and I've, as I say, gone into a lot of firms and asked this question, is typically higher than this number, which is then typically higher than this number. So if I was to go an average of every firm that I've ever been to and asked, this would be an 8.5 or a 9. This would be a 7, maybe an 8. And this one would be somewhere between 4 and 6. Now, your firm may be different, but let's say that one's the highest, that one's the middle, and that one's the lowest in terms of the quality and the way your firm works. Which one matters most to your customer? So, wholeheartedly. Which one of these matters most to your clients? Shit! Excuse me, I've been studying French. I was warned about that. He said, styling it out. Let's go for wholehearted then. That was wholehearted, wasn't it? You got that on camera as well. Bastard. Bastard. That's going to get more hits. That's probably going to do my reputation the world of good, because everyone's going to want, oh, Paul falls down a hole. Fab. Okay, let's keep going, shall we? Say yes. Okay. Which one matters most to your clients? Relationships. See, the energy's lifted, which is, I'll do that again in a minute. With the other leg. I was at the physio on Monday because I couldn't bloody walk. There we go. Relationship. What does relationship work look like?
Client meetings, keeping in contact, being available.
Yeah, it's dead simple. It looks like this. So, does this work dominate your firm?
Yes.
Great. You're getting on my wick, you are. But I love your enthusiasm. Meetings, calls. Does this work dominate your diaries in your firm? Or does the technical work dominate your diaries? Now, what's happening to technical work with all this technology? It's going away. And HMRC are getting involved. So even more of that technical work is going away. So, how important are client meetings and calls for the future of your firm? Critical. Agreed? Okay, so can you see which habits matter the most for the future of your firm? These habits. Which KPIs matter most to your firm? These KPIs. Question, who's tracking every week the number of meetings your firm has with clients? There's 2 of us. That's interesting. So 2 businesses in the room are tracking the number of meetings that take place every week in your firm. Something sound wrong there? Say yes, Paul. So we just said the most valuable thing for clients is the relationship work, but you haven't got a KPI which tracks the number of meetings you have every week. Doesn't that sound a bit daft? Say yes, Paul. Could you say it wholeheartedly, though? It's almost as if this one of no sex, please, we're British. We could change this. He goes, no meetings, please, we're accountants. Not that funny. Okay. Well, it's not bloody funny. What's wrong with this? It's a meeting. Can anything go wrong in a high-quality meeting with a client? In terms of advancing client loyalty? I don't think so. You want to do more of this stuff, not less, don't you? Wholeheartedly said. Do you want me to fall down a hole again? Do you want me never to come out again? You run meetings already, I know. And I could do daft things and ask you to put... I know you run post-year end meetings, I know you run pre-year end meetings, I know you run management accounts meetings. And I know occasionally you run CAC and PAT meetings. Come to that in a minute. Is it feasible that you could do more post-year end meetings in your firm? With, there's some clients you don't see. So you could see them, couldn't you? So there's a possibility there. Could you do more pre-year end meetings? Sorry, could you do a lot more pre-year end meetings? Answer? Yes, you could. Could you do far more management accounts meetings than you're doing? Answer? Yeah. CAC, I'm sorry about the labels, and PAP. Coffee and a cake. Pie and a pint. I'm from Lancashire, we do this one. Pie and a pint meetings, coffee and a cake meetings. Of all of those, which ones do you think are likely to be the most valuable meetings for your clients?
Depends if they're male or female.
Well, in your case, I know. Sorry, don't insult the audience, forgive me. And mine. So, coffee and a cake, pie and a pint meetings. So could you do more of those? Answer? Are you going to? Probably? Not because you're too busy doing the technical work instead of working out how to use the software and the technology to do it for you or do it more for you. So, if we did more of those meetings, would client loyalty go up or down? Would you cross-sell more or less? Are you sure? Doesn't sound like it. But who's been to a meeting because, I've gone to a meeting, you know what, I came back with some more pigging work. Has anyone had that moment? Okay. If you go to more meetings, are you likely to get more or less referrals? And if you go to more meetings, are you likely to earn the right to charge more for the same services? Yes. Oh, yeah, of course you are. So, do more meetings pay off, yes or no? Yes. But you're not tracking and measuring it. Are you obsessed with it? No meetings, please. We're accountants. Oh, a meeting, it's getting in the way of what? Doing the technical work. Duh. I told you I'd irritate you. Hopefully I'm going to drive you to action. So, we've got an obsession, which is what? We can finish now. It is relationship. Let's turn it into something really practical and specific. The obsession you need if you want to grow your firm's fees, profits and capital value is run more, which is the first Q, the quantity of those meetings. So if you had installed a KPI, which is track the number of meetings you have with clients, and we take on board what Peter Drucker says, which is what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets better, guess what? Track and measure this, and it will drive behaviour. So how hard is it to do more pre-year meetings? How hard is it to do, and look at your client base and go, you know what, we could do one set of management accounts after Q3 for these 10 clients. Let's do it and go and see them. Now, if you've got capacity in your firm, that's a piece of cake to do, isn't it? If you haven't, I know it's a tough one, so you might park that. But hey, just demonstrate the value of what one of your services, and then if they believe in it, guess what they'll do? They'll buy more of it, cross-sell. Okay, so KPI, quantity, KPI, quantity. My argument for you, the future of your firm's profits and capital value. And do you enjoy meetings or do you enjoy doing the technical work? Don't answer that question. I know. But the future of your firm lies with one, not the other. Actually, the future of your firm lies with both. However, the technology is going to make one easier, which, guess what, frees up time for you to do more meetings. Drive it home. Track a KPI in your firm, which is the number of meetings you have a week. So who had 4 meetings last week with clients? So let's say the average number of meetings per week with clients is 4, and from this moment forth, it becomes 5. How many more meetings will you have in the next year? 50, I recommend more holidays, actually. Let's say it's 40. I only work for 40 weeks. Let's say it's 40. So that's 40 more meetings. With those clients, more loyal? Yes. Likely to buy extra stuff? Yes. Likely to refer you more? Yes. You see, it's not hard. Whoa. But what if not only did we drive the number of meetings up, you actually drove the quality of those meetings up? Then what's going to happen? Double jeopardy, double payoff. And you drive the quality up by asking bright, smart, intelligent, maybe not, questions. That was a joke, by the way. Not as funny as falling off the stage, I know, but hey. So it's not Q squared, really. It's Q cubed, if you will. But this is a key skill. Now, I've been fortunate in that I started life after my university degree in a sales job with a recruitment company. I know you love recruitment companies. I did 3 and a bit years with a recruitment company, and I had the great privilege of being trained to the hilt on this. The quality of the questions dictate the quality of the meeting. There's no doubting that, is there? So how much time, effort, and energy in training yourselves around asking high-quality questions have you had? Cool if you have. So my goal is to give you the, the 80-20 rule. 20% of the skills deliver 80% of the results. Well, this is where we're heading. But I think actually of the 20%, it's the 20% of the 20 that you're about to get. This has helped me and helped the firms that I work with achieve profound results. And there are 6 questions and only 6 questions. So if you understand or have come across If by Rudyard Kipling, there's a poem in there which goes something like, I have 6 honest serving men, they taught me all I knew. Their names are what, where, when, how, why, and who. So there are 6 questions. And I reckon they go into a structure called a triangle, which builds like this. And you might want to write this down because there's a reason behind it. So if you've got the skill, which is ask great questions, and we'll come on to the key component of that in a second, and you ask great when questions, what questions, where, who, how, and why questions, will the quality of the meeting go up or down? Will it go up or down? Okay, now let's go into a prospect meeting. New client of the future. Ask smarter questions based on these 6 questions, more or less likely to become your client. Okay, because it's worth obsessing about the quality of the questions. How many questions? 20. Wow. What do I mean by this? I learned this from a guy called Earl Nightingale. Anyone heard of Nightingale Conant? The audio, no, never mind. He said, prepare 20 questions before every meeting. 20 questions before every meeting. The principle here, the rule of thumb here is, when you're in a meeting with a client or a prospect, are you good enough, strong enough, skilled enough to dream up the perfect question in the moment? Yes or no? Am I, who've mastered the art of asking questions, cultured enough, no, good enough to come up with exactly the right question at the right moment? Answer, no. So every meeting I go to, guess what I do? I prepare 20 questions because this is now habitual. If I'm making a tough phone call or I'm having a tough discussion with a team member, guess what I do? Prepare 20 questions using the 6 that enable you to ask smart questions. Now, if you want to fine-tune that, and I suggest you do, write 20. Don't edit them. So don't say don't. You need to edit later. Just write 20 questions. You've got the 6 words in the triangle. So if you ever see me in a meeting, you'll see a triangle in the top right-hand corner because it's stimulating my brain to ask the right questions. Little nuance. 20 questions about what? What about their business, based on the subject of this presentation? Questions about their future, yes. Their future what? Their aspirations. But this presentation's about what? 3 letters. One of them's predictive. So if you ask 20 questions about their KPIs, key predictive indicators, how good a meeting are you going to have? Are you buying this or what? So, that 20 is about preparation. And I know you brilliant. Just before, that 30-minute window you leave before every client meeting to gather your thoughts and prepare it brilliantly, that you can actually fit in 10 minutes writing 20 brilliant questions. The issue is, most accountants don't prepare brilliantly for meetings. And everyone knows was it the 6 Ps or 7 Ps? Planning and preparation prevent particularly poor performance. So key skill here, if you want to drive the quality of your meetings, because you can drive the quantity up and do no more prep than you already do. That's one KPI. If you're going to drive the quality of the meetings up, you could track and measure the number of meetings you prepare well for, that you walk into meetings with 20 questions. Just so when I was in recruitment, I'd learned this skill. Our biggest customer, they were called ES2. At the time, they were the biggest hybrid integrated circuit manufacturer in the world from France. And my marketing director was their account manager. He was on holiday. The managing director was out somewhere else, and one of the other directors and 2 of the managers was somewhere else. And their managing director rang in. I said, I need to see someone now. I need a sales director. Now? I said, yes, today. Right, okay, I'll get someone to come. 2 o'clock, be here. Right. No one there. But I knew that if I prepared 20 questions, I stood a chance of running a decent meeting, which I did. He wrote a cheque for £12,500, which was the first component of the fee for recruiting the sales director. And I was a mere novice. So Preparing 20 questions, does it work? Well, I know it does. I've seen it work for other firms of accountants, but the chances of you doing it are about that slim. Because you're unlikely to obsess, because at the moment you don't obsess about preparation, meeting preparation. But actually, if you only do one thing in preparing for a meeting, guess what? This is it. If you want to drive the quality of your meetings up, it doesn't matter whether it's a post-year-end, pre-year-end management accounts or CAC or PAT meeting, you can drive the quality of those meetings up by preparing 20 questions. So it is Q squared. The joy of questions. So I've written a 4-page report on how to do and write great questions. So if you want that, that link should take you there. If it's not, then I've got the long form link at the end. I just want your email address so I can send you these reports as and when they come out. You can unsubscribe any point. So, show of hands. Do you think you should have more meetings with clients? Yes or no? Raise your hands if it's yes. Do you think you should, put your hands down. Do you think you should have high quality meetings? Raise your hand. What's the best way to have a high quality meeting? Prepare 20 questions. Simple, yes? Yeah? Easy or hard? Why? Time. There is a time issue, but it's a priority issue, that. I would suggest it's old habits, because old habits what? They don't die. See, there was half the audience said, old habits die hard. They don't. Who's seen the movie Bruce Willis? What's the, Yakatomi Tower? Die Hard. Okay, what does Bruce Willis, what's his character called? John McClane. John McClane. What does he not do in the 4 Die Hard movies? Die. He's your reference point for habits. Habits never die. They're like the big oak tree. They're not going anywhere. All we can do is work on installing new ones. And you're only going to stand a chance with that if you get obsessed with one new habit. So choose either prepare questions or drive the number of meetings up. And then when you've got one habit installed, then install the other one. So, I'm paranoid about falling down the back of this pig in stain. So, higher quality meetings, more meetings, about KPIs, client loyalty up or down? Cross sales up or down? Referrals up or down? Wholehearted or half-hearted? I know, you're getting sick of me. Good. Good. Do you earn the right to put your prices up if you have more meaningful conversations, more worthwhile conversations with your clients? Of course you do. By the way, www.remarkablepractice.com is the W's that matter. Because what's the definition of remarkable? Well, it's the W's. These are the values of my business. Our business. Wife's in charge. W1. Be worthy of notice. And if you're worthy of notice, remarkable, remark. People talk about you if you do worthy of notice stuff. W2, worthwhile work with your clients. If you do worthwhile work, so I'm here, hopefully worthy of notice, here, hopefully doing worthwhile work, because if I can influence just one of you to ask smarter questions about KPIs with your clients, guess what? Those clients are going to be more successful, and I've achieved something. Well, I haven't. You have. I've just catalysed that, for want of a better so. W1 is worthy of notice. W2 is worthwhile work. What do you think W3 is? Half-hearted or wholehearted? So if you do worthy of notice stuff, which is, by the way, worthwhile stuff in a wholehearted way, do you stand any chance of not being successful? Double negatives in there. Look, folks, that's the whole point behind Remarkable Practice, is to help you get to a place where you do stuff that enables you to do remarkable stuff, which enables you to get remarkable results. That's only going to happen if you get obsessed about one of the things. So here's Maze. Worked with Maze for several years. Andrew Botham runs Maze Accountancy in Lancashire. Anyone know of Maze? Andrew is the loveliest guy. He does a 4-day week. It's sort of a 2-partner firm. He takes about 13 weeks holiday, does a 4-day week, turns over about 1.4 million. What he's been brilliant at is KPI conversations with clients. So he's been having a KPI conversation with this Peter Hargreaves for a number of months when we got this quote. And Peter says, last year we reported net losses of £212,000. Then Peter says, thanks to the Business One-Page Plan, which is what Mays calls his KPI service, we've returned £96,000 net profit in the first 5 months of this year. Now, does having KPI conversations work for business owners? Well, it does in Lancashire. Accrington. Did Accrington get promoted? I don't remember. They're close, aren't they? I'm a Burnley fan. And a Leicester fan, but everyone's a Leicester fan, aren't they? Ooh, Leicester, wholehearted or half-hearted? Aston Villa, wholehearted or half-hearted? Hey. I asked Andrew to essentially audit the results of 20 business owner clients who were on his KPI service. And I asked him for the numbers, one number, the average net profit the year before he started KPI meetings with these clients. Now, bear in mind, these clients turned over anywhere between £168,000 a year up to 3.2 million. So there's a real cross-section of business owners in this group. And the year before, the average net profit was 70,452, I think. We're talking detail. He then goes and has 12 quarterly KPI meetings with these 20 firms. To do justice to this, there was 2 or 3, I'm not sure the detail, 2 or 3 who had monthly KPI meetings, but most of them were on quarterlies. And a year later, their profit went up to just over, was it just under? I think it was just under 79,000 something, with mostly 4 meetings. And then a year later, it had jumped to almost double the year they weren't having KPI conversations. So, if you chose to have KPI conversations by working out 20 great questions to ask about KPIs with your clients, have you earned the right to charge for it if you get these sorts of results? Answer? Yes. Are you going to do it? Yes. Yeah, that was really wholehearted. That was. So 16.9% profit growth, 64.9% profit growth. You see, I'm on a mission as a business owner to get accountants to have smarter and more meetings, conversations with business owners so that this sort of stuff happens. Now, if every firm did this, what happens to the UK economy? Yeah, what happens to the number of referrals your firm gets? What happens to your fees? Because, by the way, Andrew charges for quarterly KPI meetings approximately, plus or minus, I think it's £5,200 or £5,350 for 4 90-minute meetings about KPIs. Now, he's been doing this a while, so he's getting cocky now. But hey, he's got every right to charge that. This is his firm here. So a single office, 2-owner firm in the north. When I took these stats a little while back, he had 24 business advisory clients. I know that's gone up to 30-something now. He was doing best part of 200 grand's worth of fees. Average fee was 8,200, compared with the average fee, I know there's a hole there, average fee with clients who aren't taking the KPI service of 4,700. Just so that you know, this isn't a one-off. There's another firm in the southwest, a good friend of mine, Rob Walsh at Clear Vision Accountancy. Again, single office, 2-owner south, 20 business, only 20 this time, but he manages to earn £256,000 in fees. His average fee for his KPI clients is £12,800. So these are small firms doing really well with a KPI business advisory service. Now, there's a big thing about, business advisory. Are you a trusted advisor, yes or no? Do trusted advisors see their clients more often or less often? My accountant saw me once. Did I view him as a trusted advisor? Answer, no chance. No chance. If you aren't getting to see your clients 4 times a year, you've not earned the right to call yourself a trusted advisor. There is no relationship there. It's transactional. And transactional generates downward price pressure. Get off my soapbox. So, what I'm arguing for is that you choose 1, 2, or 3 KPIs for your firm. And it's going to be connected with either the number of meetings you have or the quality of the meetings you have, or both. It could be, I'm not a coach. I prefer to hit accountants metaphorically around the back of the head and just tell them what works. And what works for the firms that I've worked with, 1,100 meetings over the years, is track and measure the number of meetings you have with your clients every week and drive the number up across your firm. And even if it's just one more meeting this year than last year per week, can you see how that on its own has the capability of transforming the results of your business because of the more referrals you get, the loyalty you get, the cross sales you get, and the way that you earn the right to charge more. And they're willing to pay. Clients are willing to pay if they get real benefit from what you're doing. So that's number one. Number two, commit to seeing one existing client and talk KPIs. So if we just go, forget habits for a second, who's got a friendly client that they could sit down for 30 minutes, prepare 20 questions, and go and see them having a KPI conversation? Who's got one of them? Who could do that next week? Or this month? Well, you could, couldn't you? And if you did it once, you know, how do you climb Mount Everest? One step at a time, they say. Is take the first step. That's just about the first step. Commit to having, get obsessed about having one meeting with one close client and talk KPIs and see what happens. Do you think they might appreciate it? Sign up to receive business bites. Oh yeah, that's those reports. I'll come on to that in a second. So, my job is work with accountants, you, to get you to see the fact that it's Eastern philosopher called Zen suggested to know and not to do is still not to know. Should I say that again? To know and not to do is still not to know. So, riding a bike, you can study or drive. My daughter's learning to drive the car, so she's studying all the highway code and she's watching what we do and all the rest of it. And she says, Dad, I know how to drive now. Oh, really? Very good. Here's the keys. Don't think so. She's 17 in 12 days. To know and not to do is still not to know. So until and unless you do something from this conference as a consequence of this workshop presentation, then you don't know about KPIs, KPI conversations with clients. You need to do something. But doing it once, will that profoundly impact your business? Answer, no. We've got to obsess about it so that it becomes habitual and puts us in a position to earn the right to charge more, generate more cross-sales, more referrals, and more client loyalty. So if that bit.ly link's fallen over for whatever reason, www, you know what that stands for, remarkablepractice.com/digital-conference. I went with Digit because it was smaller than Thomson Reuters. And you'll get these two reports. But I'm also, if you download these, my team will also send you something around, well, something, another one of these reports on goal setting. So my goal was to get you to a place where you had the nous, the knowledge, the information to go and do something that would deliver £18,000 worth of net profit and capital value to your firm. Now, I know from my experiences that if you have more meetings, it'll happen. It'll happen in a year or less, based on my experiences, just by driving the number of meetings up. But if you drove the number of meetings up, which, by the way, you'd need to track and measure that on a weekly basis and take it seriously, well, not take it seriously, obsess about it, you'll get the result you're after, if you want the 18 grand. So, I promised in the heads up, one action that gets everyone's buy-in to your KPIs and transform your firm's results too. One action. The one action is talk to one client, prepare 20 questions about KPIs and see and get a feel for the dynamic of that conversation and where it can lead you. That's the one action. One word to make real sense of KPIs for you and your clients. Key performance indicators or key predictive indicators. I play with the word key as well. You know, in a stone-built bridge, there's something called the keystone. And if you take the keystone out, what happens to the bridge? Falls down. So in my view, a keystone predictive indicator for your firm is the number of meetings you have with the client every week. I've just got too much evidence now to have any doubt whatsoever about that. So, predictive. One thing you must do to maximise your firm's payoff from KPIs. track and measure the number of meetings you have every week. Track and measure the number. The difference between hard and helpful and soft and floppy approach to KPIs. Right. I don't care whether you like me or not, because we're probably never going to see each other ever again. I hope we do, but we may not if I've irritated you enough. However, if you do something with it, you might be keen to come back and have another go. So what I like doing in these last few minutes is, excuse the phrase, ram home the insight around habits. Is that okay? Wholehearted or half-hearted? Do you want to do this last bit? This is, they say in any presentation, it's how you start and how you finish. Do you want to be wholehearted or half-hearted about the next 7 minutes? Half-hearted or wholehearted? Wholehearted. Please stand up. Right, no, health's right. Brave I am. Okay. What I'd like you to do is, so before I do this, who's seen me present before? Just Jessica? No, I'm one at the back. Great, okay. This is brilliant for them because habit forming requires what? It requires repetition. So when you come and see me again, the chances are you'll see this again. Now, I've presented this 7 minutes, God knows how many times. So what I need you to do is, everyone, if you would, I just need you to join hands. And if you're not in a row, get in a row and join hands. Oh, we got some real keen ones. Sorry, forgive me. When I say join hands, I mean join hands like your own hands, like that. Sorry. It's great that I've never presented to a digital crew before. It's great that you're really friendly, and I'm sure the quiz helped with that one. So, what I'd like you to do is take seriously the way your hands are interlinked, and you'll see that you've got. All I want you to do is just unwrap your fingers and do them up the other way. Does that make sense? How does that feel? Uncomfortable? Okay. So, just stay uncomfortable with me. If you're going to change stuff in your business, if you're going to do different stuff, how are you going to feel? Uncomfortable. Is uncomfortable good or bad? No, it doesn't depend. If you don't feel uncomfortable every week, are you changing anything in your business? Answer, no. Is change necessary? Is it necessary to survive? Is it necessary to grow? Do you want to feel uncomfortable? Right, step 2. Fold your arms, please. So now what we're going to do is, look, we're going to unwrap them and do it up the other way. I should have told you to watch the fellas, ladies, because they really struggle with this one. How does that feel? How does it feel? Tell me. Really weird, isn't it? But it feels uncomfortable. Let's go back. How does that feel? Oh, much better. Not really, because we now feel comfortable. Let's go back. Was it easier that time? No? How many times will it take to get easy? 286. So let's go with that for the next 7 minutes and we'll be sorted. Right. Here's the coup de grace. Put your hand up if you're wearing a bracelet or a watch. Great. What we're now going to do is take it off this wrist and put it on this wrist. Come on. Faster or slower? Slower. Easier or harder? Is change faster or slower? Easier or harder? Okay. So change is hard, it's slower. But unless you change, nothing's going to change. Yeah, you're not going to get the results you want. Who feels as though they've got a slightly heavier watch now than they had before? It's a bit weird, isn't it? What's that about? What is that about? So, please, have a seat, and we'll wrap up. My name's Paul Shrimpling. I run a consulting, advisory, non-executive directed type business, only for accountants. What I find fascinating is, well, let me ask you a question. Who's wearing a watch? Right, everyone, please stand up. Stand up. Stand up again. Stand up again. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Wholehearted. Right. If your watch is still on the wrong wrist, stay standing up. If you've put it back onto the usual wrist, please sit down. So sit. So, I now know that you four, you two, you, and you are the ones who are likely, oh, and you, sorry, likely to install and implement what we've covered today. Give these guys a round of applause, would you please? How easy is it to go back to doing what you've always done? Easy. Oh, is it? So can you see, unless you get obsessed with one change, you are going to go back to doing what you've always done. Habit change is the key. Habit change follows an obsession. Choose one from this conference, install it in your firm. How fast? As fast as you can, but be fully aware it's going to take how long? 286 iterations at the very least to get it to be habitual. Is it going to be easy or hard? Is it going to be fast or slow to get there? Slower than you ever think. Last number of the day is very personal. 7 out of... Sorry, it is very personal, forgive me. 7 out of 10 heart attack victims go back to doing what they've always done within 12 or 13 weeks of them recovering from the heart attack. My dad has, actually, we spotted it before the heart attack, and he had a heart valve replacement op. And the doctor said, go walking 5 days out of 7 at the very least, reduce your wine intake, and eat less food. Which he did for, yeah, he did, 12 weeks. 2 years later, he's back drinking he loves his red wine, my dad, and his whiskey. He's not an alcoholic, I don't think. And he loves his food. 2 years later, almost to the day, guess what? He didn't have a heart attack. He had to have another heart valve operation on a different valve. So he comes out of holiday, all credit to him, this time it lasts 16 weeks. And then he goes back to doing what he's always done. And this is where I can swear, because my dad's an absolute bar steward. I've got 4 kids. I've got a VW transporter with 6 surfboards on the top, 6 bikes, and we're in the middle of France. Well, we're close to Biscarrosse on the Atlantic coast. And I get a call from him, Mum, oh, your dad's, he's 74, my dad. He's been on the roof of the shed, redoing the shed roof. He's had a heart attack. He's in hospital. All right, we'll pack up then. Pack everything. Oh, bring it home. He's still here, and he's bought some small plates. So he now eats food off small plates. He pours 1 glass of wine with every meal. But it took him 2 heart valve operations and a heart attack to get there. Change, easy or hard? Okay, can you understand my commitment to the obsession thing? You've got to focus on one thing. Now, that sounds miserable. It's not. It's a story designed to go, right, this is really gritty stuff. Who wants to be successful? Whatever that means to you and your firm, I know you do. But can you see is choose one thing, get obsessed about it, and if I could choose it for you, I'd choose go and see your clients more often, track and measure it. My name's Paul Shrimpling, I'm off. Thank you very much.